Don't move. Uh-uh-uh. You feel that against your neck, sweetie? Mm-hmm. That's right. This is a knife. If you struggle or make a noise, well, you know exactly what'll happen. Oh, well, yes. You probably have received a bit of training for this, haven't you? Everyone born to a noble family needs to know what to do when facing down an assassin, don't they? Although, in the end, the advice they give is a bit silly, don't you think? If the assassin speaks to you, stay calm and don't give them a reason to kill you sooner than they want to. The idea is basically to just stay alive longer and hope for a miracle. Well, I suppose miracles do happen on occasion. So, I'd recommend keeping to your training and stay quiet for now. I'm going to do something that I've never done for any of my targets. I'm going to take off this mask and show you my face, all right? Oh. Shh, 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 shh. Don't gasp too loud in shock, cutie. Don't forget the knife at your throat. I'm flattered you recognize me, really. As a potential heir to your house, I know you had to memorize the names and faces of members of rival houses, but I'm a rather minor member of the Blankmont family. Even though your family and mine are bitter enemies, I think most members of your family wouldn't have bothered to remember me. No, you seem a bit confused, sweetheart. It's all very simple. I'm the Blankmont's personal assassin. I've been officially adopted into the family as a cover story. As you might have guessed, I was sent here to kill you. Well, technically you're not next in line to take over the family, but your brother is, and, well, let's just be honest, he's rather incompetent. You, on the other hand, you could actually be a threat to the Blankmonts if you were ever chosen to lead your house instead. I'm sure you're wondering why I'm even telling you all of this. If I wanted to kill you, it would have been easier to just stab you through the heart and be done with it. But the thing is, I don't actually want to do that. You see, when I was assigned to kill you, I did a little spying myself, to understand who you were and what your weaknesses are. Now, hush. I kill people for money, sweet thing. Spying on you isn't the thing to get upset about here. Anyway, as I watched you, I started to find myself infatuated. Well, for starters, you're not all that bad to look at. True, some of your cousins are considered more conventionally attractive, but only because they center their entire lives around their appearance. You, on the other hand, have a sort of effortless, subtle beauty about you. Perhaps it takes an assassin to appreciate that, being pleasing to the eye, but not drawing any undue attention. And then there's your wisdom, the very reason I was ordered to take your life in the first place. You're practical, and you're willing to set aside the unnecessary things that others cling to. The fact that you alone have been arguing in favor of making peace with the Blankmonts is impressive. You don't care about the long-standing counterproductive feud. You don't care about revenge. You just want to move on. It's a shame that the Blankmonts think you're lying through their teeth to trick them. But I know you really mean it, though. I know I put on a bit of a show just now to keep you quiet. But the truth is, I don't think I can bring myself to hurt you. It's one thing to snuff out the lives of greedy, cruel nobles who are a threat because of how ruthless they are. But to remove you from the world, well, that would be a crime. You still have a sense of humor at a time like this. All right, fine. Both are crimes. But the former is merely a crime according to the law. Killing someone as beautiful and intelligent as you, though, would be a crime against humanity. I was given your contract to kill you quite a while ago, to be honest. But I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what I wanted to do. I'm given a bit of leeway when doing my job, you see. As long as I serve the Blankmont's interests, I don't really care about how I get things done. So, this is what I think we should do. I bring you back with me, and then you become a Blankmont. It'll be perfect, you see. You'll no longer be a threat to them. In fact, someone like you would be an asset. You wouldn't have to die, and then, well, we can be together. Well, sure, we'd technically be related if you were adopted into the Blankmonts. But you know how common that sort of thing is among nobles. At least in this case, it wouldn't be a blood relation. So, what do you think? It's not a bad deal, right? You get to live, and I get a chance at you. Oh, and the Blankmont's bitter rivals lose power. See? Everybody wins. Everybody except your family, yes. I suppose that's true. And here I was praising your pragmatism. You wouldn't really be abandoning your family, sweetheart. You'd just be... well, I suppose you really would be abandoning them. But if I kill you, then... well, they'd lose you anyway, right? So you're really not gonna budge on this? You insist you'd rather die than join your family's enemies? You're either more emotional than I thought, or much, much smarter. Even if you refuse me, I can't bring myself to end you. I suppose in that way, I'm a bit emotional too. Still, you should really consider what I'm offering. Let's be realistic here. The Blankmonts are on the winning side of this conflict. We're wealthier, we have better connections, and as you now know, we have a skilled assassin to deal with any dangerous threats. Do you really want to be stuck where you are? If you inherit this family, you'll be inheriting a dwindling empire. It'd be such a waste of your talents. You'd die poor and destitute after spending your life stressing and fretting over your situation. Who would choose that? Barring a miracle, it is a sure thing. Oh my, aren't you clever? Yes, just like I said, miracles do happen. But you already got your miracle. Your miracle is that you're not dying tonight. Expecting more is just delusional. And even if that doesn't happen, just think of what you're giving up. You know, to have any chance of getting your house out of the hole it's dug for itself, it'll have to be through political marriage. A forced political marriage. But that's just it. I'm not blackmailing you into marrying me. All I want is a chance to convince you to choose me. If you were part of the Blankmont house, you wouldn't have to bear the responsibility of leading, so it doesn't matter who you marry. You could choose whoever you like. And you know, I'm not a bad option. I have plenty to offer. I'm wealthy, intelligent, and I feel like we could really understand each other in a way that others don't. Trust me, my dear. This is the only way you'd get a chance like that. Well, I suppose I could technically join your house instead, but I don't want you to take this the wrong way, my dear, but it's not as though I'm willing to drop my entire life for you. I'm interested in you, yes, and I'm taking quite a big risk by ignoring my orders. But at the end of the day, I am genuinely loyal to the Blankmont family. Even if it's technically only a cover, I'm officially part of the family and grateful to them. But we've only just met. Touché, my dear. I see your point. If I won't drop everything for you, then I can't exactly ask you to drop everything for me, now can I? You know, I quite enjoyed observing your shrewdness from a distance. But it's an amazing mixture of frustration and delight, now that you've turned it on me. Well, my dear, I suppose you've given me something to think about. You're even more determined than my original observation suggested. You know, I just realized I didn't even accomplish one of the goals I came here to do. This certainly is going to complicate things. The fact that you're going to win this engagement with nothing more than words intrigues me. I might even be more interested in you now than I was before. I expected to leave here with you, or with your head if I could muster the strength. I didn't actually consider what would happen if you remained alive and at home. Well, I'd recommend you don't tell anyone else that we spoke. Even if I can't bring myself to kill you, I don't have such reservations about anybody else. And don't test me on this, or they'll be the ones that pay the price. I think we'll be speaking again some other time, then. You might have not gotten the best impression of me tonight, but I'll try and show you a better side of me next time. Oh, and keep this in mind. At some point, I'm going to need you to stop being a potential threat to the Blankmonts. I can't kill you, but unless we find another way, I might eventually have to resort to kidnapping. I'd suggest you help me find another solution as soon as possible. But for now, I bid you good night, my dear. I hope you manage to get some sleep. Oh, a customer. Hello, darling. How can I help you today? Ah, a member of the Norvell family, are you? Well, in that case, you must be here to pick up those writing supplies. Is that correct? Wonderful. Let me just take a look at the manifest here. Oh my, there's quite a bit here. If you don't mind me asking, darling, what's all this for? Perhaps I could recommend some of our other products to help? Oh, I see. Yes, I have heard that the Norvells have fallen on hard times. I must say, though, it speaks volumes of your family's character that you haven't let that trickle down to ordinary folk like us. So, this is all to help you reorganize your family's financial records to see if you can find wasted expenses? Well, that seems quite sensible, darling. If there's anything we can do, please let us know. Although, in the meantime, I may have to ask for your help first. Oh, no. Nothing like that, darling. We're just a bit short-staffed at the moment, and have a bit of trouble with some of the heavier boxes. Could I ask your servants to carry them out instead to the carriage? Ah, I see. You have none to spare. I suppose that makes sense with your financial troubles. Well then, I'd hate to ask a noble, but could you help me with them, perhaps? Why, thank you. That's so generous. Please, follow me into the back.
Stay quiet, sweetheart. I'll have to knock you out if you misbehave. Oh, you recognize me just by the sound of my voice, do you? I must have made quite the impression on you. I suppose that was bound to happen. People don't easily forget the voice of someone who held a knife to their throat. I'm glad I decided to disguise it.
Oh, that's better. So what'd you think of the disguise? It was good enough to fool you, huh? Please, it wasn't even my best work. One time I had to disguise myself as an 86-year-old lady. Now that one was a challenge. Why am I posing here as a storekeeper? There are a few reasons. Well, the first one was that I wanted to let you know I'm still keeping an eye on you. You've done well not to let anyone know about our meeting, but you're starting to get a little bold with your questions about the Blankmont family. Never forget, my sweet darling noble. You mustn't let anyone realize that you and I are affiliated. Not unless you wish to join the Blankmonts, that is. Well, of course I could have just snuck into your room again to talk to you about this. But I'm not just some rank amateur. Any decent assassin never uses the same approach twice. It's a good way to get caught. While I doubt you'd set any kind of trap for me, there's no reason for me to get careless. No. I'm afraid I haven't had much luck in finding some other arrangement. Believe me, I've pursued many possibilities, but I keep arriving on the conclusion that as long as you remain a part of the Norville family, you'll always be a threat to the Blankmonts. It's quite the conundrum, really. Sometimes I wish you weren't so competent, but, well, then I realize if that were the case, I likely wouldn't have fallen for you in the first place. And as easy as that would have made things for me, I can't say I regret falling in love with you. For the longest time, the only thing in my life was a career as an assassin. It feels liberating to have another goal now. Something else to turn my attention to. Oh no, my dear. I haven't given up yet. If at all possible, I want to find a good way to make this work for the both of us. And kidnapping you doesn't strike me as a very good way to begin a relationship. Speaking of which, I was thinking that perhaps I didn't give you the best impression the last time we met. Yes, the death threat was the main issue. It was an empty threat, but I don't suppose that provides very much comfort, does it? I made you feel unsafe in your own home. In your own bedroom, really. And that's the sort of thing that can stay with a person. And even though I don't see how else I could have done it, I regret it nonetheless. And on top of threatening you, I feel I've only presented one side of me to you. My professional side. I just want you to know, my dear, that while I'm an assassin, I'm not just an assassin. I have other aspects to my personality. I will confess that even in the best of times, I'm not always the most expressive. When you make a living by killing, you start to get numb to a few things. But still, I do like a good laugh from time to time. I have my own hobbies as well. So, although I'm still looking for solutions, I would like the chance to show you the more personable side of me. Perhaps if I can successfully woo you, you'll decide to come over to the Blankmonts willingly. And that would solve everyone's problems all at once. Yes. I suppose I am. I am asking you out on a date. I'm fairly confident that if I'm given the opportunity to show you what I can bring to a relationship, you'll find yourself drawn to me, as I am to you. So, this is what I'm thinking. A week from tomorrow, after the 6th bell is rung, we'll meet in front of the local tavern. I'll be in disguise, obviously. It wouldn't do for you to be seen with a Blankmont after all. When I see you, I'll approach and say, you're neither early nor late. And that's how you know it's me. And after that, we can get a drink and get a bite to eat. And then I'll take you out to a play. I quite enjoy the theater, you know. I've selected one of my favorites. And when that's done, well, we can keep that a surprise. So, what do you think? I can't exactly threaten you into agreeing to this. It would defeat the purpose of endearing myself to you, after all. All I can do to convince you is promise you it'll be an enjoyable evening. Well, I suppose if you need further incentive, you could always consider it a chance to woo me back. I don't think it's likely, of course, but perhaps you could convince me you're worth abandoning the Blankmonts after all. Oh, so you don't need convincing, do you? Well, that's quite flattering. In that case, thank you, my dear, for giving me a second chance. You know, I do feel a bit silly. I'm supposed to be a hardened killer, but I actually feel a bit giddy now that you agreed to a date. Maybe it's because it's new territory for me. I've been in relationships before, but only really ever as part of a cover, and usually to extract information or get close to someone. So while I'm not really inexperienced, this actually will be my first real date. Yes, I suppose I really will have to put my heart into this one. I've always done just enough to be appealing to my dates, but trying to go above and beyond for someone, well, that's going to feel a little strange. Oh, well, that's sweet. It makes me happy you feel excited as well. I must say, I wasn't expecting you to be quite so amicable after last time. I mostly just pushed my feelings onto you and made it your problem. True, I did spare your life, but that's rarely considered a noble thing, huh? I've spared a small number of people in the past, but they've always responded by attacking me or trying to expose me later. I'm very grateful that you're different. Well then, it seems to me that we'll be seeing each other very soon. The real shopkeeper will be back here in a couple of minutes. And before they get back, I'll need to be gone. Oh, right. The boxes. So sorry, I don't have time to help with those. Maybe you could wait for the owner if you'd like. Just before you go, though, you should keep an eye out. You were very vulnerable today. It's fortunate that I wasn't here to harm you. You're a noble, and I'm not the only assassin you might ever encounter. I couldn't stand the thought of you being killed. For now, I guess try not to be alone with strangers. If you really can't spare any servants at the moment, maybe find a friend or family member to stick with you. Anyway, Take care. I can't wait for our date.